Now that I have your attention, I want to announce something. I finally have a PO box. Once a month I will do a live stream where I open it all, and that will also end up as a video on the channel. So send me everything you got at this address below my face, and let's overload my local postal service, because the PO box is tiny. So we could easily do that. Now, throughout the years, I've made a couple of lists on haunted places and scary things in the Zelda series. From locations to just general things or beings found in the series. And that's mostly because I'm a big fan of scary stuff. And as you can imagine, that means that horror movies are more than A-okay in my book. However, I never touched on the bosses found in the series, while, to be honest, some borderline traumatized me. So today we will take a look at some Zelda bosses that scared me the most when I first saw them. But remember, I was a lot younger back then. Number 5. Wait, what was that? Well, the gameplay you're looking at right now is from Raid: Shadow of Legends, who were kind enough to sponsor today's video. The ambitious turn-based RPG will totally blow you away, and the great thing is, the game is free! And yes, you can progress and do things in it. It has an amazing storyline with really good voiceover work, and in battle you will witness awesome 3D graphics that even shocked me. There are even a ton of champions you can unlock. Hundreds! Look, these are mine! And yes, I worked for all of them, and didn't use any boost from the company that they offered me. This one is my favorite. He even has really good epic gear that I got from a boss, and has a crazy lava spike attack. Raids are getting big extremely fast, so join now to be ahead of the curve, and even a special launch tournament with crazy prizes is coming soon. Download Raid only through my link to get 50,000 silver immediately, and a free epic champion. Whoa, alright, that looked cool, but we're talking about something else. But do check it out though. Now, the first boss I want to talk about is extremely mysterious and found in a place filled with death and despair. However, it's not exactly a being, but a cursed sword by the looks of it. I'm talking about Death Sword. When Link enters the room, he finds a sword embedded in the ground, bound by ropes. Cutting one of the ropes causes the evil magic within the blade to awaken and burn away the rest, thus beginning the battle. A monster will appear from the sword, who is probably locked away in it for a good reason, and start swinging the weapon at you. It will also fly around at incredible speed while screeching in order to confuse and probably intimidate you. Now, as soon as you enter the room, you can see this strange setup, letting you know something powerful and dark is contained here. And as we all know, this is the case. Now, while the monster itself is just your generic scary creature, there are a couple of things that really stand out. The introduction always gave me a bit of a haunting feeling, and the fact that he at some point starts flying around, screeching at the top of its lungs, really freaked me out. Clearly, a lot of dark creatures can be found in this place filled with misery. Number 4. Now, during Ocarina of Time, Nintendo was experimenting a lot with the game, since it was the first 3D title after all. And so they came up with a mini-boss that ended up being a cool concept, but also unsettling and hard to deal with. Dark Link, an evil clone that appeared out of nowhere, and it was never really explained who this being is. Even the introduction is messed up. It materializes from your reflection in the water, which is unexpected and quite the shocker. And then, all of a sudden, you are basically fighting a clone of yourself who mimics your moves completely. Thanks to this, the fight is also quite difficult, if you don't know any of the cheap tricks to get rid of him, like the Megaton Hammer. So there you are, stuck with a tough-as-nails enemy that's basically you in a room that seems endless and out of this world. Quite a terrifying and frustrating experience that you couldn't have seen coming. Everything seen here is completely different from the rest of the dungeon. The effect of your reflection in the water disappearing all of a sudden is quite a hard hitter as well. And then, when you turn around, you see it looking straight into your eyes. Quite messed up. Number 3. In Majora's Mask, there's one dungeon that certainly outperforms them all, the Stone Tower Temple. And in this place we encounter a Grim Reaper-like being surrounded by bats that can be hard to deal with and terrifying in his own way. Gomez, a being that's immune to any damage while bats cover its body, and to get rid of them you need to shoot at it with a light arrow. Once they're gone, you can attack the green orb under its cloak to damage the creature. After each attack, Gomez will start spinning its scythe towards Link, who can block the attack with his shield. Now overall this fight is quite hard. Overwhelming for sure, and its fast movements can really mess with your head. He's also gigantic compared to you, and as soon as he gets close, your screen is filled with black bats who are swarming around you, making it all extremely disorientating. And as soon as you start frantically swinging your sword in a desperate attempt to take him out, you get a fast and almost instant spinning scythe attack in return. Sure, his face is quite cartoonish and not scary at all, but his speed, size, and power to overwhelm you will have you panicking for sure. And then he can even send a swarm to attack you, which can give you hope since he's open for an attack, but it usually ends in you being overwhelmed and swinging in random directions. He's difficult and another nightmare in every way. Number 2. Now, Ganondorf is a weird fella. In almost every game he comes over as odd and doesn't seem to understand social cues. However, in the Wind Waker, he does something that most people didn't really see coming, and it's also extremely unsettling. When you confront him at the end of the game, he transforms and all you see is his limbs growing and twitching, while hearing really unsettling cracking noises like bones twisting and breaking. This happens basically out of nowhere and freaked out both Link and I, as you could imagine. Now in the end, he turned into a gigantic puppet that would now start to attack you, and even changed into different forms. It's really weird that he does this, and it doesn't help that his puppet form also looks really creepy, moving in all kinds of odd, unnatural ways with a bunch of strings controlling him. Straight up nightmare fuel in my opinion. This whole form kind of reminds me of horror characters like Annabelle or any other creepy doll seen in such movies. It's sort of humanoid, but not exactly. It's a bit off, and this causes shivers to run down my spine. The fight itself is not that special, however. His attacks don't really put pressure on you in any way. However, I'm still not sure what went through Nintendo's head when they made this boss. Number 1. Now for our final boss, a being that feeds on a primal fear almost all of us humans have. A creature most of us fear. A spider. Most people who see them instantly put some distance between themselves and the being, especially if they're big. But what about a spider that's multiple times bigger than you are? Now that would be really scary. And of course, we see one of those in Twilight Princess. I'm talking about Mocoma, a giant and hairy tarantula-looking creature with a huge eye in the middle of its body that would stare at you. It can shoot lasers and lay dozens of eggs, which hatch into baby spiders that will all attack you. Now this boss is utter hell to deal with if you have arachnophobia, which I used to have when I was younger until I started to watch tarantula feeding videos. Really, works like a charm. I love those videos, and I'm fascinated by spiders now, big and small. However, I will be honest, this spider remains scary just because it's so big, and especially its legs kind of freak me out. Luckily enough, it's quite easy to defeat, so you don't have to look at this horrible creature for long, and at the end, you can even take it out in a fun way. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you won't miss anything. And also check out some other videos that are already on the channel. And yet again, big thanks to Raid Shadow of Legends for sponsoring this video, because the game is actually quite good.